Hello and welcome to Case Closed. I'm Tracy Perry. We'll soon go inside an actual courtroom in the Warren District Court to see real small claims cases in action. Under Michigan law, small claims cases may be brought by individuals seeking $3,000 in damages or less. Neither side may be represented by an attorney in small claims court, and the judge's decision is final. Now, for the case of She Said, She Said.
All right, this is your case, Ms. Cole. What are you asking for?
I was at the gas station right down the street from where I was living at the time, and I was walking into the gas station, and I was walking up to the counter, and as I was walking up to the counter, she bumped into me, and I continued to walk up to the counter, and before I could get to the counter, she came behind me and grabbed me by my throat, put her hands on my throat like this, began to choke me and shake me profusely by my neck and slammed me up against the counter or the chip rack, and I began to yell at the person behind the counter, telling him to call 911, which he did not, and she continued to assault me, shake me violently, screaming at me, "Die, die," called me a few names in there. And I kept telling him to call 911, the person behind the counter, which he didn't. I somehow managed to get her off of me. She let go. I grabbed my cell phone. My husband's on my speed dial because he was in the car. I called him, and he came in. And right as he walked in, he witnessed her attack me again. And then this is my neighbor, by the way, at the time.
You heard?
Yes.
Okay.
And as he came in, she attacked me again in front of him, started screaming how much she hates both of us, and began continuing assaulting on me. He called 911, then the police came. The police came, I'm an epileptic. She had me on my throat like this and was shaking my head back and forth. They asked if I felt that I needed to go to the hospital at that time. They were trying to talk me out of anything, pressing any charges against her. I don't know what was said between her and the police. They told me that I didn't have a case against her. We were right underneath the video camera at the gas station when the whole assault took place. I never touched her. And I'm like, why wouldn't there be a case? It's all on videotape. They're like, we have to get the videotape from the gas station. We'll have to come back tomorrow to get it.
They wouldn't allow the police officers to view the videotape.
Who's they?
The person at Zoom gas station where the assault took place. They said that we would have to come back there tomorrow and talk to the manager to get the tape. Now, when I had called the police, well, of course, I immediately want to press charges. She just assaulted my wife. The police officers basically sat there and talked her out of pressing charges, telling us it would be a big waste of time, too much red tape, it's he said, she said, blah, blah, blah. And the officer had also told me that the guy behind the counter seen everything, and it would be a big waste of time. Now, when we went back the next day, supposedly, it was never taped. We didn't have a tape in it, so say. So when the police officers had left, we had walked back home, went back home, and I told Marcy to call the police because every time that I would try to say something in front of the police officer, he told me to keep my effing mouth shut and go stand in the corner because they had nothing to do with me. After I sat there and witnessed the defendant attacked my wife in front of me.
Well, I think the police wanted to talk to your wife instead of you, and you probably wouldn't let them do that.
No, I was letting them do that.
What?
I was letting them talk to her.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so she was never charged. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Now, I really have difficulty believing that the defendant, Ms. Gubin, and I'm not saying that she's not liable for anything here, but out of the blue came and attacked you at this gas station just because she didn't like you? I mean, there was nothing that provoked. Just wait a minute, sir. Now,
Go ahead. I'm good.
There's nothing here that you did to provoke this.
No, sir.
Out of the blue.
No, sir.
Not out of the blue.
No, I didn't do anything. I was in the gas station walking up to the counter, and she was coming from the counter.
She was at the gas station also?
She was already in the gas station.
Did you know she was there when you went to the gas
No, sir.
station? So you just happened to run into her?
This gas station is 5 houses away from our house.
I understand that. So you were there getting gas, and Ms. Gubin,
I was
just
getting a
by
pop.
luck, happened to be there when you were there?
She was in there.
Did you know she was in there when you went to
No,
buy
sir.
gas? Okay, so you were, when you went in there, to pay, right?
To get a pop.
To get a pop, you did not expect to see her there.
Oh, no.
And then that's when she attacked you.
She bumped into me on my shoulder.
Right.
And then I went and set my pop down on the counter, and when I turned around, she grabbed me by my throat.
Right. You never went to the hospital?
Later on that evening, when I started having a seizure, yes.
Okay.
I have all the reports right here.
Okay. As to the seizure, right?
Yes.
Now you have a medical condition, though, that
Yes.
results in you having seizures?
Yes.
Which is?
Epilepsy.
You're suing for $3,000, right?
Yes.
Why do you think you're entitled to $3,000?
My hospital bill was $22.40.59 plus $403 plus $245. I have $133.80 in lost wages, which totals $3,021.39, $88 in court costs, and there was a $5 report that I had to get, so it all totals $3,114.39, and I can only ask for $3,000.
Most of that, though, is for hospital bills, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, when did you, for you going to the hospital later that night?
Yes, sir.
But that was because of the seizure, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
So why do you think she should have to pay it for the hospital bills that you got for going to the hospital because of a seizure that you had?
Because the seizure was a result of the head trauma.
How do you know?
That's what the hospital report says.
So the plaintiff claims she was assaulted and the assault triggered a seizure. Let's hear what the defendant has to say.
In the meantime, Ms. Gubin, well, your turn. What do you have to say about all this?
I was on my way to work. I had walked to the gas station. I, in my peripheral vision, seen them get in their car,
Who is them?
Mr. and Mrs. Cole.
Okay?
I seen them get in their car. I had gotten into the gas station. I bought my cigarettes. I was on my way out. In the meantime, she bumps into me, which is I've already had neck surgery. My neck has been fused. I was protecting my neck when she bumped into me.
So she made contact with you first?
Correct.
Okay?
Then
So what
she
happened?
started, so I let her go, and I told her, leave me alone. Okay? And then she started screaming and yelling at me about this far in front of my face. So in the meantime, I asked the gentleman to call to call the police station. He did. Then she calls her husband comes in. Then I have them both in front of my face like this. So I asked the gentleman to put me behind the cage. They yelled at him and said he couldn't put me behind the cage.
Who's they? Who are these
Mr. and
people?
Mrs. Cole. It's illegal. The gentleman opened the cage and let me in the cage because I was afraid.
Does that
Police
happen?
came.
Did it happen?
No, sir.
She was never in the cage?
She was behind the door, sir, but my husband was the one who called 911.
No, was she in the cage?
No, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
So when the police came, they came into the cage and they talked to me. She was at the other end of the store. They talked to her. EMS came, they looked at her neck, they were there like 3 minutes, and they left. Then I get a letter from the city attorney, okay, stating that I cannot talk to Mr. and Mrs. Cole, which was not a problem. They had lived next to me for 2.5 years. I had never talked to them to begin with. My length of conversation with them were hi and goodbye. That was it. This all started over the last 2.5 years that they lived next to me.
They still live next to you?
No.
They moved away?
My husband, the owner that owned the house, I had lived next to him for 25 years. So we had talked to Mr. Carney, trying to get them to stop the excessive noises all hours of the night, the burning of the wood, because I have asthma. It comes into my house. okay? Nothing proceeded from that. So I just said, let it go, not a problem. My daughter, 2 days prior to this incident, had called the police. The police came out and talked to them. The next day, my daughter also called the police because of the excessive noise. I have an 8-year-old grandson that's in school. He needs sleep. We were working retail between October and December. The hours switched for us to where there are really extreme hours, so we needed our rest. Once that happened, once the police were called for that, October 31st, they were served a eviction notice. When the eviction notice was served to them is right before I went to the gas station to get my cigarettes, and that's when she bumped into me, and I protected myself by grabbing her by the neck.
Okay, so the defendant says she was the one who was assaulted. Sounds like a tough call for the judge.
Well, you know, I can understand why charges were never filed here, because it's impossible to figure out what happened, okay? I mean, it is she said in this case. I will say this, that we have one witness in the police report who was the clerk, the person who worked at the gas station behind the cage. And according to the police report, the clerk said that he saw you, ma'am, grab her,
True.
but did not see you
But in-
assault her, just a minute, assault
Okay.
her by shoving, punching, or kicking. This clerk said, at least at first, that he believed both of you were playing around.
Exactly.
That's why there's no case being brought against her, because a jury would listen to this and probably dismiss it. Maybe even a judge, too.
Sir, my husband saw her attack me.
I know, but your husband is your husband, okay? And husbands don't make as good of witnesses as store clerks who are neutral and don't know anybody. Those witnesses are better than husbands or wives or relatives, okay? Juries figure that stuff out pretty fast. And city attorneys know that too, which is why the case wasn't brought, because the best witness here is the store clerk who says that he did not see Mrs. Gubin assault you. That's in the report.
Right.
That doesn't
She
help your
admitted to
case.
right there.
What?
Which she just admitted to.
What do you mean? She
She
admitted
just
to?
admitted to right there that she grabbed me by the throat.
But not assaulting. I mean, the witness here says
Grabbing
something
someone by the
different.
throat is not assault.
Well, not enough to charge with, I guess. Did you grab her by the throat?
After she had run into me, yes, I
Okay,
did.
see, there we have it. It's impossible to figure out. I don't know what happened here. There's no way for me to figure out what happened. You have two stories that contradict each other, okay? Also, I've got a real question as to whether you were damaged to the amount of $3,000, but be that as it may, you can't win on that claim unless you can show that there was an actual assault here. You have the burden of proving that, Mrs. Cole, because you're bringing the case. Because you're bringing the case, again, the burden is on you. You haven't proved that to me, at least to my satisfaction. I can't figure out what happened between the two of you, okay? There's just no way. And if I can't figure out what happened, because you're the plaintiff, you lose. So the
Sir, can I
case
say
is
something?
dismissed. If you do it fast.
Okay, the 2.5 years that we did live there, it was a nonstop harassment
Okay.
between us and them, calling the police on us 7 or 8 times for absolutely no reason. The police even came to our house and said, I see no problem here, but when someone calls, we have to come out.
Okay.
When she physically attacked my wife, I did not get an eviction notice that day from Pat Carney, which is my best friend's father, who I've
Okay.
been in a family with since the 70s.
I have a statement. Well, wait a minute. What does that have to do with this case today?
The harassment that led up to the assault.
I don't care what happened before the date in
Okay.
question. I do not
Okay.
care what. Listen, see, I can understand why the police would tell you to be quiet. Because if you act in front of the police the way you're acting now, they're going to get angry with you, okay? What you're saying, don't talk. What you're saying here today, Mr. Cole, doesn't matter. All I care about is what happens on Halloween of last year. And when I can't figure out what happened on Halloween of last year, and if I can't figure out what happened on Halloween last year, the plaintiff has to lose the case, because as I explained, the plaintiff has the burden of proof. So that's why the case is being dismissed. Everything that happened before that, I do not care about, because it's not affecting what happened on the day in question. Case is dismissed.
Well, the plaintiff just wasn't able to prove her case, so case dismissed. Now we move on to the case of roommate retribution.
All right, Mr. Beck, this is your case. What are you asking for?
Plaintiff was my ex-roommate. She owes me back rent. I think I put it all up there.
$408?
Correct. She also damaged to the condo. She also stole some furniture.
So you both live together.
Correct.
You're not married, right?
No.
When did you live together? From when to when?
I want to say she moved back in
Back
last.
in? What do you mean back in?
Well, she moved out to move in with her boyfriend.
Okay.
And then he kicked her out. So then she moved back in.
You let her back in?
She wasn't my girlfriend.
She was just a friend.
Correct.
Was she ever your girlfriend?
No.
When did she first move in with you?
Well, we signed the lease 05.
Well, this was a condo?
Correct.
Well, who owned the condo?
It was a lease.
You were leasing it from the owner?
Correct.
Who signed the lease?
We both did, but then she moved out.
When did you both sign the lease?
I have a copy of it.
All right.
It was in 05, but she moved out probably for about a year and a half,
When was that?
prior to April of 2010.
When did she move back in?
April or May of 2010.
Is she there now, or she moved out again?
No, she's out.
When did she move out?
Like the 3rd of January of 11.
This lease, well, it's long since been expired. Did you ever sign another lease?
I did. It should be at the bottom, the last page.
Well, you signed one dated July 21st of last year where the rent is increased, but she never did, right?
No,
Is the only lease that she signed this first one?
correct.
So you, all right, so you let her back in April of last year.
Yes,
All right, and you're suing her because she took some stuff?
yes, she also stole money and gift cards. I know it's hard to prove, but I can prove she had motive.
Motive, what's her motive?
She never had money. She refused to pay rent on time. I can't remember one month where she actually paid the whole rent on time. And actually, when she moved back in, she probably only paid me a couple $100 here and there. And then when my money came up missing in July, about a week later, she bought an iPhone and still didn't pay all the rent.
Did you ever sign a lease with her of some sort of written agreement about the rent she was supposed to pay?
No. No,
Did you ever file a police report about the items you say she stole?
I did not.
Why not?
I just thought she would pay me back on it.
So you said she stole a futon.
Futon.
Futon, right, what is
Correct.
that?
There's a picture, you should have a picture of it.
Okay.
And then,
What is it?
It's a futon, it's a fold-out bed.
Oh,
She actually,
this?
yes,
She stole that.
correct.
You bought it?
No, it was hers originally,
Oh,
but then she moved out and gave it to me.
oh. Here we go again.
So, and I did not tell her she could take it back out. Now, the gift
What about
cards.
the lamp? Same thing?
The lamp was mine, she took that with her.
Oh, she just took that.
Yeah, she took
What
it.
about the fan?
She took that also.
Was that a gift to you?
No,
Ball pump.
she took that.
Was that a gift to you?
No,
$600, where did she get, is this cash?
correct.
She just took $600 of yours
Yes. That's when she bought the iPhone.
with the $600
Correct.
of your money?
Yes. Now,
$200 in gift cards.
yes, I had my gift card, my computer is in my room, and the gift cards were next to my computer, and that was what my witness was gonna say. She saw that, she's the one that got me the gift cards, and then the next day when I was looking for them, they were gone. And I texted Miss Martis over here, and I asked her if she's been in my room, and let me see, where is that? Okay. On the first A, she says, I haven't been in your room in years. And I knew she'd been there at least 2 or 3 times because she downloaded pictures, videos, and on the day that my gift cards were taken, she called me to use my computer to download iTunes on her phone because she just bought her phone.
Are you still living there?
Yes,
Carpet, she damaged the carpet?
yes, there's
How-
pictures there.
How did she damage the carpet?
Numerous times, her curling iron, she just takes it and lays it on the carpet and it burns. You can see all the burn marks in there.
How did she damage the kitchen countertop? Top?
Actually, that picture, I don't know what happened to it, it's on my phone. I don't know if you want to see it. She burnt the wood on the kitchen countertop.
How?
You want to see a picture?
Just tell me how.
She put, the incense sticks,
I think
and they're supposed to go horizontal,
horizontal. I thought vertical.
sideways.
They are, I thought vertical,
No,
up and down.
no, because then they burn slow, and it's over like a wooden.
Well, then maybe you're
Catcher.
talking about something different.
Well, anyway, she stuck it straight up, and when it went straight up, it fell off and went onto the counter and burnt a big hole in the wood countertop.
What about the wall paint?
There's pictures there. She tore off. There was like a border or something, but she just ripped it off. I had to sand it all down and repaint it.
This probably, right?
Correct.
So Mr. Beck claims his former roommate stole gift cards, a futon, and she damaged the property. Let's hear what the defendant has to say.
You file a counter complaint. Well, first of all, what about all the stuff that he said?
I have proof that says that he doesn't have any idea this money that I stole from his room because I have, first it was $800, I have in an email, and then it was $700, I have in a text message, and just now he told you it was $600.
Where'd you get the money from?
I didn't get the money from anything. This is the money that he's claiming that I stole out of his room.
Did you steal it?
No, absolutely not. I would never steal. We've been friends for 10 years. This is all coming out of nowhere because he didn't have a job or something. I don't know. I always have money. I've had a job for 5 years. I moved in that condo with him 6 years ago and maybe have lived there over the last 6 years a total of maybe a year because I was always living with my boyfriend. If he wanted to kick me out because he didn't want my things in that room, he should have kicked me out a long time ago. I was paying rent to him when I didn't even live there. So all this money that he's claiming I owe him is back rent that I was paying him when I could because I was doing it out of the goodness of my heart because he didn't have another roommate. I have proof that the last thing I owe him is $410, which I will agree with completely. I owe him December's rent because we were going through all of this. I was moving everything out. I was out before January, so I owe him $400. He owes me
410.
410. It's 408 technically. He owes me for this gas bill that I completely forgot was in my name 6 years ago that he let run up to $403.81.
Do you believe you owe this, sir, the gas bill?
Part of it.
How much?
I've been making payments on that also. It's still in her name. She hasn't taken it out yet.
No, it's not. They told me that you said you were going to get rid of it at the end of February.
Wait a minute. Why do you think you owe part of it instead of all of it?
Because she still lived there for part of that gas bill.
What about the gift cards?
I've never been to the Hollister store in my entire life. I don't even know what it is. The fan and the lamp, my parents brought. They're in the car. The futon, I have a signed affidavit from my father saying that it has been in our family. That is my futon.
Did you give it to him?
The futon?
Yes.
Never. I
left it for a year at my house.
It was left in the basement.
abandoned.
That does not mean that it is his. My bed was
Why did
also
you leave
there.
it in the basement?
Because he didn't have any furniture down there and we were friends.
But you left, and you left
I
it
moved
there.
out of the room because he needed a new roommate and the futon stayed down there. I mean, if he wants this futon back, he can have it, but I did not steal anything. It was mine. We could care less about this futon.
No, he doesn't.
Well, he can have it.
What about the carpet?
The carpet was disgusting when I moved in there and has been ever since.
You dropped your, curling irons on it and it caused damage to it?
No.
Your Honor, I have a text message to her telling her that it's an A2, third one from the bottom, said, hey, you left your curling iron again, and was melting her cords in the plastic bucket she puts it on. She leaves them plugged in all the time.
So she's suing him for a gas bill, and she denies any of the theft or damage. Sounds like a lot of drama for the judge to sort through. Let's hear the ruling.
Listen, as to the rent, there's no way for me to offer or to give a judgment regarding rent. You don't have an agreement with her about rent.
That's the one picture.
What picture?
There's a picture with a whiteboard on there
I have that picture also.
saying
one
what
here?
she owes. Yup. And she admitted saying she owed $408 to the
That's
rent.
why I made sure you had December rent. I'm not paying anything. This doesn't show the whole, everything that's written down. I'm not paying anything for my vacation. I gave you everything I made last week.
Yeah, she,
It's not a rental agreement.
correct, I understand that.
So she's not entitled or not required to pay rent. As to the other stuff, I can't figure out what happened, okay? I can't figure out whether she stole these things or whether they were gifts, whether they belonged to her. And as far as your gas bill, ma'am, the gas bill's in your name. You got to pay it, okay? I don't know of any agreement between the two of you where he's going to pay half. You were roommates off and on for a while. When you're roommates off and on for a while and only one person signs the lease, then these types of things are going to happen. And you can't come to court and ask me to sort it out because there's no way that I can do that. I don't know what you two agreed to, especially since you lived there twice and you've had some sort of long-term relationship, apparently not a romantic relationship, but some sort of a relationship based upon friendship that's now gone bad. You have certain agreements between the two of you, certain understandings that I can never figure out now. And now you have different versions upon that, and you obviously don't like each other anymore, and so each of you want to get something from the other,
Your Honor, she
and I
also,
can't figure it out. What?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just gonna say, I never said they were Hollister cards. She just came out and said it.
I
They
have
were
it in-
what?
I have it
It's
in
a
an email.
store, Hollister.
Okay, so,
You
That's how
wrap-
she knew what it was.
You have it in an email, it's right here. It says 200 in Hollister cards.
case and the counter complaint are both dismissed. Both of you go your own separate ways.
Well, it sounds like it was just too much to sort through for the judge and no good proof of any of the accusations. So, both cases are dismissed. If you find that you are involved in a dispute that you can't resolve, small claims court may be the answer. Thanks for watching Case Closed. I'm Tracy Perry.